character because I'm like I have lived in a very exchanged cultural environment. My father is from Henan province and my mother is from Sichuan province, so I live in a mixed culture family. And I have been abroad before. I have been to Sweden, so I think what's funny lies in the cultural exchanges. So that's how I define funny in itself, and that's how my personality helps to shape the jobs itself.
Right, that is a very Generation Z answer that we all don't want to be defined. That's kind of how people perceive this generation. And I really liked that you said what comes with your identity depends on the culture you were immersed in. So speaking of different culture, Alex, do you think slash jobs or slash youth was the same in your country in Russia?
Back at home in Russia, we don't really have a concept like slash youth, but I've noticed that a lot of young people and young moms, so young entrepreneurs, really care about developing their personal. They're also doing some video blogging, or they're doing some singing, or they're developing their hobbies in their spare time. And I believe that it's a great opportunity to find your true passion in life. And I guess.
Yeah, find your true passion in life. That is indeed a very important aspect of being a slash youth. Zongnan, when you were in Sweden, do you think slash youth was the same?
Let me think for a while, because I think all of my classmates, they have I don't know, they don't call it as a job.
Right.
They don't earn money or earn their living basically because of their jobs, but they have a lot of hobbies, like they want to do what they like to do. I think it's beyond cultures. It lies in the young people or people as a general.
Right, yeah, indeed. I think nowadays a lot more young people are kind of embracing this idea of one person, multiple jobs, and they all have their own different hobbies in spare time. What has been the best and worst experience you've had as a slasher?
I think both as the public figure, you have to enjoy the fame, enjoy the praise from the public, and also sometimes when you behave not so well, there are some criticism. So that is the best and worst experience as a esports caster, because I really care about the outside voice. So especially on some social media. So that is the best and worst experience in my career.
George, I'm very curious because I'm really not into esports, but I wonder how many followers do you have on Weibo?
Followers, I think there are about 100,000.
100,000.
Yeah, followers. Because
oh my god.
Because follow doesn't cost, so just follow.
Well, that's true. A public figure.
Yeah, I mean, I only got 500 followers and I worked really hard for it. Yeah, I'm sure the public voice and especially people's comment online can be very impactful for one's own identity. I'm sure Alex has the same problem as a vlogger. Do you think you also are impacted by people and what people say under your videos?
But actually, in the past few months, I got a lot of positive feedbacks. When we were practicing for Beijing Olympics, it was quite a long time, for 5 months. I've been writing my thesis, I was looking for a job. It was challenging experiences, but when I started to post videos, I got a lot of feedbacks from Chinese users. And it really gave me an reassurance and confidence in a friendship between our countries.
So, Alex, have you faced any challenges during your experience as a vlogger?
Yes, sure, there are challenges in every field, but I can't remember any worst experience because every slash job we're doing it for ourselves, and it's always an experience that I will remember.
Yeah, sure. And Zongnan?
Yeah, for me, I don't have the kind of problems faced by Alex or Zhuocheng because I have like 700 or 800 followers on Weibo. So I'm not facing the challenge as a public figure, but I faced as a challenge being labeled. I mean, being labeled as a slasher means that people know you first by your label and then the person itself. So the worst experience is when every time I went back home, sitting in a dinner table with my family members, and they know that for one, I'm a Tsinghua University student. Second, I'm a comedian. So everything I say should be funny. The worst thing, what's the worst thing is, every time I was eating the dinner, they told me to tell a joke. Joke is something that if you have a so high expectation and you ended up very low, and it will end very embarrassing. So it's a very embarrassment things. And even so, they will question me as an identity of a Tsinghua University student because I'm not good at comedian. I'm not good at telling jokes. What I'm good at. So that's the worst experience of being labeled, but that's also the best experience because those labels could give you opportunities. Like for example, I was invited to this program because I have labels. So I think that's the two sides of the coin.
Alex and Zhuocheng, do you find it difficult to balance what you do in school and what you do outside school?
That is hard, but I believe that being a slasher also gives you this balance between your daily work, your research at university, and also something you love when you finish your classes and on weekends you would love to spend time doing. So that's why we can find this balance and do slash jobs.
Yeah, what about Zhuocheng?
I think for a slasher, it is so important to be efficient. And you have to balance so many things. For me, I have to balance my work and my academic stuff. So I always do those things on the train or on the airplane, and I try to make use of every spare time to do whatever I want to prepare for the next casting or for something in school. So just be efficient and make use of every time. Every moment, every minute. That's my key to keep balance between the academic steps and my work.
And what about the results? I mean, there is one kind of criticism too. All the slashers are that people who are enjoying a slash life are just good at everything but specialized at nothing. Do you think you've faced that stereotype, or you think that stereotype is just a misunderstanding for all the slashers?
I really don't agree that opinion because I think slasher can specialize in some part of the things, and I think he can specialize in one part, and he can also know something about the other parts that related to the one he focused on. And that's my opinion about slasher.
All right, do you guys agree with that? Alex, do you think that's a thing for you?
Yes, it's the same. I mean, nowadays when you are looking for a job, I believe that being a slasher kind of proves that you have a good discipline, a creativity, and other passions in life that can contribute to your daily job. So it's a kind of advantage.
Well, not like Alex and Zhuocheng, I think I partly agree with this argument because time are people equally bear. If you spend time on this, you don't have time to do others. The moment I find this is when I find I don't have enough time to test jokes and write new materials, and I just cannot write exact funny joke as other professional comedians. And I always have that theory of Lu Xun's coffee theory. Lu Xun said he is not smarter than the other guys. He is just spending other guys' coffee time to read books. But for me, I think there are people who is much more an expertise in coffee more than Lu Xun because they spend much coffee time than Lu Xun's reading time. So that's my theory, and I think every people have equal time. They cannot specialize in everything. They are not considered as God, who is all-round capability. So we have to admit that we cannot be all good in all areas, and I think that shouldn't be a label to restrict us or to contain us. And I think that's the problem a lot of people put on like, for example, Guilin. They think that, she went to Stanford University, she won a gold medal for Olympics for China, and she can do a lot of things good, so she cannot make any mistakes. I think that's the stereotypes that we cannot agree on, because people as slashers, they can do a lot of things, but don't expect that they make no mistakes in every area that they step into.
But see, as you said, you can't be perfect at everything. But does that mean at the same time you are not really having a strength compared to other people who might just have one identity focusing on one thing?
I think many people, nowadays, many people have hobbies or have passion on things that they don't. I think it's not a linear mindset that people only focus on one thing. They have time to do other things. So, we all face the stress that life put on us. That the stress always push us to do things better and to find different sides of ourselves as a human being.
Right, yes, that's very deep. Jumping on to another question, you guys are all in these newly developed industries. Whether it's a stand-up comedian or a blogger or esports, they are all fairly new industries, which only evolved in the past decades. So how do you explain what you do to people from the previous generation? How do you explain what you do to your parents?
Well, that's something I really want to hear first from Zhuocheng, because I'm probably gonna mistake the esports itself.
Yeah, Zhuocheng, please.
I think esports, yes, it can be mistaken by so many people, and I think also my parents once didn't understand me to choose to go into the esports industry, but I just want them to know more about this, and I watch the esports games with them in the stadium and also at home online, and I tell them the rules, and I tell them there are so many people around the world watching this with me, so that makes them feel better to know more about this. And also, I think time is so important, because I tell them the opinion that I want to go into this industry when I was 20 years old, rather than when I was 17 years old when I was in high school, because at that time, when I was 17, I think they don't believe that I am mature, but when I was 20, I think they can believe in me, and they can believe that I can take responsibility of my choice, of my career. So at that moment, I think they understand me, and they just believe that I can do whatever I want and do what I can do, and I just show that I am capable of my job, and they can believe in me, they can trust me.
So true, so true. Timing is so important, especially for stand-up comedy. As stand-up comedy is now recently getting popular in China, like 2 years or 3 years before, 吐槽大会, 脱口秀大会. And even, if I told my parents like 3 years or 4 years ago, they just cannot understand what it is. But thanks to the translation of stand-up comedy, that it's 脱口秀, so it translates back into English, it's talk show. And we have a lot of talk show program in China. So my parents understood what I'm doing as the way they understood of how Xiao Cui or
Yes.
Bai Yan Song. So they think I'm lecturing people, but in a funny way. So they're so proud of me of what I'm doing right now. But now I find a very complicated situation every time my father asks me to invite him to one of my performances. And I said, no, you don't want to. Because, even if he can take my joke, he cannot take the jokes from other people. Comedy is a thing that its main purpose is to entertain others, to make people laugh. But a talk show is more than that. I mean, talk show combines a lot of things like including lecturing or including passing on message to audience. That's how I think, I don't think I can fulfill the gap, but I can use the gap as a way to escape the conversation to my parents. But they just understand it the way and they are proud of me as a stand-up comedian.
That's brilliant. And for Alex, what do you have the same problem? Because, Asian parents are generally known as being more strict and having higher expectations on their children. But is that the same case with your parents? Is that the same case with parents in Russia?
At the very first, they were concerned about my research at university, but when I explained to them what video blogging means to me, and when I started doing video blogs, I got a lot of messages from Chinese audience. They were asking me about Russian culture, history, language, and also some Russian students were sending me messages how to study in China, how to where can they study Chinese in Russia. And I find this dialogue really meaningful. We can avoid some stereotypes, we can make connections, we can get to understand each other much better. And I find it purposeful. And when I explained it to my parents, my friends, they also accepted it, and I'm really grateful for their support and understanding.
That's really good. You have your parents right at your back, right? Yeah, so speaking of our parents and the generation gaps, so what do you think the difference between doing a slash job as a Gen Z compared to our previous generation? We have people who might just do as much different jobs on their spare time. Do you think they would be a slash mid-aged person or a slash old compared to what we call a slash youth today?
In Soviet Union, young people were assigned with their jobs. It was a time of stability. If you're doing your job honestly and hardworkingly, you could count on it. And now we're living in fast-changing times. We need to adapt. We need to gain new skills, and it's just a must-have for us. But I believe we can fulfill this age gaps through communication and understand each other better.
Yeah, what about you, Jo Chen? Do you have something to say?
I think to focus on the field of esports, Generation Z can compare with the first generation of esports guys. At that time, nobody told them how to be an esports caster, how to be an esports manager, how to be an esports referee, a coach, or even how to be esports players. So at this time, esports is getting mature. And we know how to do these things because we are growing up with the esports. And I think many people as my generation, they have watched so many esports games during their high school time, during their university time. So that is the big advantage we can take as Gen Z.
Yeah, but I'm sure its previous generation would also have their kind of sports or conventional sports like football or rugby and soccer, all different types of sports. And also this is how esports gained inspiration to have these leagues, have these kind of tournaments from. So indeed, Alex said that we could fill this generation gap by drawing on common ground, but also there is something special only for us as Generation Z. So my next question is, as your life moves on, see, for example, you guys are all now in the campus as a student, and well, Alex has graduated, but you haven't started a full-time career yet. But as your life moves on, and when you have a full-time job, do you think you will continue to be a slasher? Or what you are doing now as a slash job will just become your main job.
For me, being a slasher is a diverse style of life, so I definitely hope to be a flash for the whole life. How about you, Zonan?
For me, I think I don't know how we define. I mean, that's all how we define the slash jobs. Of course, we'll all have a slash jobs in the future. Does it mean that we have a lot of things to do after work? I mean, if we call people that they are a dishwasher slash housekeeper slash bricklayer, shall we call them slasher? If that counts, I think I will be. And also, I think slasher is not a privilege. Everyone can it's not like people with higher social capital, with many money, that they can be a slasher, but only if they have enough energy and passion that they can be a slasher. So, of course, I think the answer would be yes.
So you will continue to be a slasher. But what kind of job do you see yourself doing?
Wash the dishes? No. Of course, a comedy is my everlasting dream, and is my whole passion. I will keep on doing that. And I'm majoring in international journalism. So journalists, I think being a journalist is a great thing. So I think that's the job. I think that will be the main job for me. And other things, I'll keep on exploring.
Right, so you will be a journalist slash comedian and slash bracket, the bracket to fill, right? That's brilliant. Jochek, do you think you will become a full-time esports caster, or will you develop some new jobs and also doing the esports casting as a side job or a slash job?
I think esports caster will be my main job, I guess, and I will explore some other slash jobs for me, because so many of my colleagues, especially the first generation of esports casters, they have developed, some of them have developed their slash jobs, and I want to be a follower of them. And
that's interesting, because I find it funny, because now you're a student, and the moment you graduate, it seems that you cut down from a slasher to like the esports becomes your main job. And now, how do you define yourself as a slasher?
Yeah, because being the part of my time is being a student, is doing so many academic works, and some of my time will be devoted into the preparation of casting. So I define that as a slasher. And in the future, I think I will still be, I will continue to be kind of curious about some other things, like just like stand-up comedies. Maybe probably one day I will become a stand-up comedian as my slash job. So I don't know what I will like in the future in 5 years, but I believe that at that time I will still be a slasher. That is my attitude to life, I think.
That's very ambitious. I mean, for me, I was a slasher when I was in campus, just like you guys. As I graduated, I just now, you see, I'm the host, and I'm only doing one job, but I can't.
So you don't like being a host?
No, I like to be the host. I mean, it's awesome, but I just can't spare any other energy to develop a side job or a slash job.
Complaining about yourself, or you're complaining about
No, I just feel it's so much different when you were a student, when there isn't so much pressure on you. I mean, pressure when you're a student, it's just that you have to catch the deadline, you have to get good grades, get good GPA, but when you're actually moving on to a full-time career, you need to pay your rent, you need to feed your cat, you need to earn all the money and all the other stuff. And no, well, I mean, it's rather realistic, but maybe it's just for me. I mean, because I'm not graduated from Tsinghua or Beida, so I'm sure you guys might have just a better future compared to me.
Yeah, well, I think that depends on two things. One is how busy your main job will push you. For an esports casters, it may cost you like 4 days or 3 days a week to do some preparation and casting, but there are also much spare time for you to do the slash job. So many of my colleagues just do whatever they want, to do what they like. And the second thing is how curious you are about the world, about some new jobs and some new fields you want to step into. So that is my opinion.
That's right. Yeah, stay curious, stay imaginative, and it will make people more energetic, and it will, well, forever young, if you like saying that. Yeah, but so let's talk about your future, since we've already touched upon this question. So how prepared are you moving on to the next stage of your life? As you said, both Zhongzheng and Zhongnan until now will continue being a slasher, but how prepared are you to jump into the desk? Or where do you see yourself 5 years in the future?
Oh, so now we are facing the reality. No forever young. I think the time we step into the next stage of our life is the time we transfer ourselves from an idealist to a realistic person. There are two moments in my life that I find myself that I'm already ready for the next stage of my life. The first moment was when I discovered I'm not that as funny as a lot of professional comedians, and I feel so down that time. And I thought I have touched the glass ceiling of my career, and I think I have come to a realistic problem to admit my ability and capacity. And the second moment is when I find myself, I have done a stand-up comedy, and I have done I have been a guest performer for Joe Wan, and after that, I think it was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience, and I have been a guest performer for a famous person. I think that would be the glorious moment of my life. But after that, I ask myself, what's next? Because I don't know what lies in the future. Maybe I'll get back into a normal person, and I feel frightened. But after that kind of feeling, I think probably it's the real life. You will never live in a glorious time ever in your life. So that's the two moments that I come back from an idealistic person to a realistic person. And I think that's the time that I think I'm prepared for the future. Whatever difficulties lying in ahead, I think I have the attitude, the mindset to overcome them instead of being frightened or afraid.
Yeah, can-do attitude is indeed the best quality you need when facing to the future. And Alex, I'm sure this question is really relevant to you, because now you just graduated and you're about to start a new job. So how prepared are you for that?
I came to China at 17, and I've been facing these questions for quite a long time. I feel well prepared. From looking into the future, I hope I can benefit society, benefit relations between our countries, and it doesn't really matter if I'll be a great editor, or I'll be doing some video blogs, or it will be some cross-cultural communication. I embrace my future. I just hope I can contribute to it.
Yeah, great. Dedicate yourself to a greater cause. What about you, Zhou Cheng? Do you see yourself to be the best host in LPL in the next 5 years?
Of course not, man. But I think the most wonderful part of the life is it is unpredictable. So when you ask me, are you prepared to go to the next stage of your life? I will say maybe yes and maybe no, because I don't know what my next stage will be like. And for the next 5 years or even 10 years or even longer, I'm not sure. But I think I am ready to do what I have and do the job now I have. And I'm also ready to explore more and find what I am passionate in. And that is my future, I think. So I am ready to go into that kind of future, but I am not sure is that my next stage of life.
But I believe we can. we can. But I believe we can.